Today's topic, resistance bands, tools and toys with explosive mode. We got 6 methods, 6 ways you can use these to make your training more fun and give you some more variation. I'm Eric Snell, the author of the Pleasantly Realistic Fit Businessman book. And resistance bands, I think you heard a lot about them now when the gyms are closed and people try to tell you that you can train with a resistance band. And I can see a lot of pro bodybuilders actually recommending using these for home workouts. Basically, you might see bodybuilders at bodybuilding shows warming up with bands, getting a pump. They can also use towels, maybe have a partner hold a towel and then they pump up their muscles by using a band. And a lot of people recommend that you would do training at home with bands. And I would have to say that that's one of the methods that I probably would never use these bands for. Never. There are bands that have different strengths and you can have handles attached to all types of things, and it looks really nice, but I rarely see anyone working out with them when you go to a gym. And if they would be really, really great, they would also have them in the gym and people will be training with them. Now, I think mentally it's a huge obstacle that you don't really know how much resistance you have. So if you want to replace your dumbbell with a band, then it would be nice to know how much you're lifting. And then of course, the resistance varies depending on which part of the movement you're in. So what are the 6 ways I use these? Well, let me tell you. Number 1 is as resistance, but it's a little bit different resistance. It's not with only the band. It's when you use the band attached to something else. The second way is assistance. And here I'm talking about making an easy movement, or let's say a movement more easy for an athlete that's not used to the movement. So a scaled version, sort of, with the help of a band. And then the third way is dynamics. So you want to add some dynamic phase to your lift. So if you just move a weight, there's no dynamics. It's not very similar to any type of sport. And then we have instability training. So if you want to have something that's, you want to practice isometrically to hold on something that's unstable, you can use the bands for that. And the 5th way is overspeed training. So you can use the bands to actually go towards speeds you wouldn't use otherwise. And the last is for stretches. Do you use them all for these? I doubt that. So let's go through them all. So first is resistance. And this is maybe mostly the most popular way to use bands, that you think that you can replace a dumbbell with the band. And here, an example I would use this for is squat, where you keep a kettlebell and you attach the band to the kettlebell and you're doing squats. So you're adding a little bit of resistance to an already difficult exercise. The other way of thinking about it is to do a bench press where you add bands, so you add resistance and a little bit of a varying resistance when you do the bench press. Now, for the assistance, there I would say the most typical one is for pull-ups. So if you can't perform a pull-up, then if you use a band, you can, for instance, wrap it around your knee and then around the rack, and that will make it easier for you to do the pull-ups. And that's really, really good way to learn the pattern, the way the body can sort of get used to the movement. So it's not always a question about muscles, it's a question also about the movement pattern. And by using a band, you can actually adapt the body to the movement. So if you don't necessarily get stronger, you're just gonna get more better at the movement itself, and hopefully you get to do your pull-ups. You're gonna develop much faster that way. Now for the overspeed training, the best exercise I've had in my explosive mode classes, or let's say the most popular one, the one that everyone enjoys, is plyometric push-ups with the band. So a plyometric push-up is basically when you're pressing in a push-up position, you're pressing yourself up in the air so your hands do not touch the ground. Now you wrap this band around your waist, and that will help you if you attach it to a rack. It will help you get up in the air and get some air time. And I mean, this is great. Some athletes start flying and they love it. So that's really an exercise that I highly recommend that you try. If you haven't tried it, you can sort of superset a regular bench press with that. It's lovely. The same thing if you do overspeed jumps. You can wrap this again. You have to wrap it around a quite high rack. Wrap it around that, put it around your armpits, and damn, you can fly. Get some air time in it. And it's really amazing feeling and makes training a lot of fun. Some use this, of course, for running as well. I wouldn't use it for overspeed training. I would use it for resistance training. So here again, I wouldn't use it for doing bicep curls, but I would wrap it around a partner and use it as resistance for sprinting. Or when you train alone, sometimes what I do is in the gym, I do squats, and after that, I do banded jumps, I call them, because I attach this to like a pole and around my hip, so there's constant tension, and I do jumps. I can also do stationary sprinting, sort of high knee skipping, and there I highly recommend to use a timer. You know, you have your phone, put on, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You don't need a lot. Just so you know, like 30 seconds, you go. Or you think to yourself, okay, I'll go 20 seconds high knee skipping, and then when 20 seconds is gone, you do 5 jumps. It's amazing. So that's where I would use this more as a resistance tool. Now for instability training, what comes to mind here is attaching kettlebells to a barbell. So you attach on both sides. So for instance, a very popular movement is that you have a barbell above your head, you hold it with both hands, and you attach kettlebells on the side with this band. So you wrap it like this, you put your kettlebell inside, it's on the side dangling, you don't need a lot of weight there. You have them on both sides, and it's very unstable. And this, to work with that, even if you do regular squats or lunges and you have this instability, it's a nice way to train without pushing yourself with really hard weights. I would say it's a very safe way, and it's more of an isometric approach to training. It's also a great way if you're stuck and you want to progress in your bench press and you just can't do it. Add something like this in between, do a little bit different type of exercises, and it will hopefully help a lot, because your body will be so surprised that it has to really use even more than just your chest and your triceps. It really has to use the whole body to stabilize the movement. And then the last thing, stretching. I use the band a lot for stretching where in positions that are difficult for me to get into. The one that I prefer to do that with a band is actually when I'm laying on my back and I wrap this around my shoe. I take my feet up from the ground and I go sideways. And this way I can get into a quite comfortable stretch without having to use my arms too much. Because a lot of times when you stretch, if it's uncomfortable, you won't be in that position for too long. By using the bands, you can get in quite, usually uncomfortable stretches, but it won't be that difficult to hold it because you have the band to help you. So I really think that's a good way to make stretching also more fun. Sometimes stretching feels like it's boring, feels like it takes up your time, and by using the band, you can actually do also some dynamic stretching, so you can move while you stretch. So it's a way also, if you go outside and train now, to when you warm up, maybe you jog a bit, you can do some dynamic stretches, wrap this around your foot and move with it just to wake up your body and to activate your muscles. So that's how I use this resistance band. I hope you got some good ideas from that. Take it with you next time you go out and train. I'm Eric Snell, the author of the Fit Businessman book. And if you want to look sporty after 40, just DM or call me.